Every battle shonen has a power system, but some take it a step further by creating systems that do more than just decide who wins a fight. And these weren't just magic systems slapped onto a story. They were extensions of the world itself, its rules, its hierarchies, and its beliefs. And maybe more importantly, they were reflections of the kind of story the mangaka was trying to tell. And the stories I'd like to talk about today are the stories of One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. In One Piece, power is absurd, playful, and chaotic, but at its core it's about your own will. While in Naruto it's more structured, inherited, and genetic. It's like a mirror of legacy, trauma, and systems that choose your worth before you do. And finally in Bleach, it's shaped more through introspection, being rooted deep in your identity. But it's important to note that this video isn't just about how these power systems work, we already know that. It's more about what they mean and how their structure reflects the themes of their story, and how the presence of things such as devil fruits, kekkei genkais, or bankais tells us everything we need to know about the worlds these characters live in. Deep down, One Piece is a story about freedom, and its power system reflects that. We see devil fruits, which are these bizarre things. There's no elemental hierarchy, no clear tier list. You can become a dragon or turn things into mochi, and weirdly enough, both can be extremely powerful, and that chaotic system is intentional. Devil fruits aren't necessarily called devil fruits because they're evil, but the name may come from the fact that they represent rebellion, a break from the natural order. It's been revealed that they represent collective desires and the wills of humanity, and every fruit comes with a cost. You lose your ability to swim, and I don't think this is just a mechanic, it's more of a metaphor. The sea represents the world's judgment, and the more powerful you become, the more the world tries to drown you. But the power system of One Piece doesn't just stop at devil fruits. The second layer is something called haki, a word that literally translates to ambition or spirit. It has nothing to do with genetics, it's not inherited, but it's earned. I like to think of it as a representation of a character's will through their own power. So through devil fruits and haki, we see an overarching theme of will throughout the story of One Piece and its power system. And I believe this will is the catalyst to achieving freedom in the world of One Piece. The world is built on systems of control, the world government, the marines, the celestial dragons, institutions that stamp out individuality, and yet the strongest characters are the ones who laugh in the face of that control, who name their ships, carry their flags, and declare who they are in front of the whole world. One Piece's power system is chaotic by design, and only those who can navigate that chaos without losing their will can take one step closer to achieving freedom. And if One Piece is about carving your own path in a chaotic world, then Naruto is about trying to find your place in a world that decided who you were before you could even speak. Because in Naruto, the power is rarely your own. You're born into it, bred into it, and burdened by it. Chakra is explained not just as a source of energy, but as a spiritual and physical balance, inherited from the Sage of Six Paths, a mythical figure whose bloodline splinters into every major clan. In other words, your connection to power is traced through ancestry, blood, and fate. That's why so many characters aren't just ninjas, they're Uchihas, Hyugas, Senjus, or Uzumakis. Power gets passed down like trauma, and the system reflects that. From kekkei genkai, which lock elemental combinations behind your DNA, to the tailed beasts which are forcibly sealed inside children to turn them into weapons of war. Even the techniques themselves, such as the Byakugan, the Sharingan, or the Uchiha signature fireball jutsu, are often inherited. There's almost nothing in this world that belongs purely to the individual, and that's the point. Naruto's world is one built on control. Village systems dictate your career from birth, and clan politics define your relationships. Power is institutionalized, codified into ranks, exams, and traditions. The ninja hierarchy is a machine that teaches you to be useful or be left behind. Nowhere is the strict control of the Naruto world clearer than in the Hyuga and the Uchiha clans. Neji, for example, is born into a world that tells him that his role is fixed. A branch family member, a servant, marked literally with a seal that binds him to a fate he didn't choose. He believes power is predetermined, that no amount of effort can rewrite what's written in his blood. But during the Chunin exams, that belief is shattered. When he fights Naruto, a so-called failure with no pedigree, he loses. Not because Naruto is stronger, but because Naruto refuses to accept his fate. And that refusal forces Neji to question everything around him. It's a turning point, not just in the fight, but in Neji's character. He begins to believe that people can change their destiny, that effort can matter, and that bloodlines don't have to define you. The Uchiha meanwhile carry a different kind of burden. Their powers of the Sharingan and the Mangekyo Sharingan are both born from grief. To awaken it, you must suffer, and to evolve it, you must lose someone you love. It's a clan defined by trauma, where strength is built on pain and passed down like it's a curse. Itachi embodies that tragedy. He inherits the hatred of generations and sacrifices everything in an attempt to end it. He becomes the villain to protect the peace, shouldering an entire legacy of violence so Sasuke Sasuke won't have to. But in doing so, he passes that pain on to Sasuke, who grows up believing revenge is the only path forward. Sasuke as well spends most of the series chasing power through rage, through isolation, and through vengeance. But in small moments throughout the series, we see him not accepting the clan's curse as it is, such as when he doesn't kill Naruto during their first fight, refusing to achieve power through the method that Itachi had taught him. And for example, in the end of the series, after Naruto and Sasuke's final battle, we see Sasuke finally accept peace, breaking a generational curse, and choosing to walk a different path than what was predestined for him. In the world of Naruto, we see chakra as this deeply complex system. It's a power designed to pass through generations, whether you like it or not. And unless you break that cycle, you'll just be reliving someone else's past mistakes. So in Naruto, I would say power wasn't just about strength. It was also about breaking free from the blueprint you were born into. And the power system itself is a perfect metaphor for that. And finally, I feel Bleach adds a completely unique twist to the last two, because it's not something that you're just necessarily born with, it's something that you slowly uncover as you get to know more about yourself. Bleach doesn't only revolve around lineage or destiny, it also revolves around the question of, do you actually know who you are? Every Soul Reaper wields a Zanpakuto, a sword that's not just a weapon, but also a manifestation of the soul. And to awaken its true potential, you don't just train harder, you have to hear it speak, you have to earn its name. And this isn't just a metaphor, it's a mechanic. You have to enter your inner world and confront a version of yourself you may not want to see. And there's two primary evolutions of a Zanpakuto. The first is the Shikai, the initial release, which is unlocked by forging a bond strong enough to learn your sword's true name. And the next is the Bankai, the final release, which is earned not just by understanding your Zanpakuto but by mastering it, and in doing so mastering yourself. But Bleach doesn't just stop there. The entire power structure of the series is built around duality: Soul Reaper and Hollow, life and death, control and chaos. Almost all major power-ups come from within, and not just through external training. Ichigo's journey isn't just gaining strength by learning new techniques. He gains strength by having reconciliation with the parts of himself he tried to reject, such as his Hollow and his Quincy heritage. His greatest barrier is often confusion. When he doesn't understand who he is, his powers begin to falter. But when he embraces all of it, even the terrifying parts of himself, his power becomes whole. And he's not alone in this. Kenpachi's sword refuses to speak for most of the series, not because it's weak, but because he refuses to acknowledge it. Rukia's Zanpakuto fully reveals its beauty only after she accepts her fear and grief. Bleach teaches us that the greatest enemy isn't out there, but it's inside. Where Naruto fights fate and One Piece fights control, Bleach fights confusion. And the only way forward is clarity. In Bleach, power is deeply personal. It doesn't only come from family, ambition, or rebellion, but it comes from introspection, from naming what's inside of you and learning to live with it. And so we have three power systems, three different philosophies, three worlds asking the same question: what does it mean to be strong? In One Piece, we saw strength is the freedom achieved through will. The world is chaotic, unpredictable, and unjust. And your power isn't defined by what you were born with, but by how loudly you choose to live. Devil fruits give you the tools, and Haki proves you're willing to fight for what matters. While in Naruto, we saw that strength is a struggle against inheritance. You're born into pain, into bloodlines, and into history. The chakra system is elegant but cruel. It says who you are is decided before you're old enough to even ask. But the true arc of the story, the true power, is in those who reject that pre-written story and write their own new one. And finally, in Bleach, strength is built through introspection. Your sword is part of your soul, and your Bankai is not just a reward, it's a revelation. And the only way to wield it is to stop running from who you really are. None of these power systems exist on their own. They're built into the emotional foundations of their worlds. Power doesn't just move the story forward. It reveals what that world values, fears, and believes in. Because in the end, these series weren't just about becoming the strongest. They were about becoming yourself first. Becoming yourself in a world that keeps trying to define you. One Piece says you don't need permission to live freely, while Naruto says you don't have to be your past. And Bleach, it says you already have everything you need if you're willing to look inwards. And maybe that's what made these power systems amazing. Not just how they work, but what they meant for the story. And that's where I'll end this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And if you have any video ideas for the future that you'd want to see, leave them there as well, because I try to read through every single comment. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.